When was that?
November.
When? Now what year?
2025.
You were not paid salary. Were you not paid salary when you were a caretaker committee?
We were paid.
You were paid?
Yes.
Is that not income? But you said you have not earned any income from 2018 to date as a politician. So no tax clearance. And that's what you are telling Rivers people. Madam, that is not nice. You are misleading the 10th Rivers State House of Assembly.
I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker, but I think I can still go back for.
No, but you say you have not earned any income now.
It's not later. I'm trying to be corrected.
Honorable Mba, any question?
What leadership? I have shown leadership. I have said, look, you cannot do this. If you do this, you pay for it.
Does it get better or worse? Are the actors ready or not? Are citizens onlookers or bastions of accountability? The questions pile up each day, 1,001. But hey, in the Situation Room, we are not carried away. We only ask the crucial questions and stick it in. Because the journey to El Dorado won't pardon missteps.
Based on the law, if you earn any income, you have to pay tax on it.
Join 광ᴜᴜ in the Situation Room, Mondays to Thursdays from 4 to 5:30 p.m. for the real action.
In the Kano State, they cried it, what happened? Even in Edo State, they cried it, not what happened. What I would say is, Mr. President is a school of strategy.
Tax clearance. It's dated December 31st, 2018, and there's no update. I just wanted for you to clarify.
So there's no tax clearance, current one?
There's no current one.
Madam, you've not been paying tax since 2018?
I just wanted to know if she's been exempted from paying tax.
So let's tell us now. Let her tell us.
Like I said before, I'm a politician.
You were what?
I am a politician.
You're a politician?
Yes.
So politicians don't pay tax?
We don't have an office.
Hold on. Let me get you. You say you're a politician. So politicians don't pay tax?
I don't have work.
Okay, you don't have work.
I don't have work. It's when I got nominated into the river.
So since you don't have work, you have not been paying tax or taxes since 2018 to date. That's what you are saying. Is it only when you have work that you get income? You don't have any business?
Mr. Speaker, I think tax is generated from your income.
You have not had any income since 2018 till date?
No.
Madam, you are under oath. You have not had any income from 2018 to 2026. No income. That's what you are telling Rivers people.
I was a member, a commissioner in the Rivers State House of Assembly Service Commission.
When were you? Hold on. When you were a local government caretaker committee member, right?
I was just 3 months there.
When was that?
And I think November last year.
When was that?
November.
When? Now what year?
2025.
You were not paid salary. Were you not paid salary when you were a caretaker committee?
We were paid.
You were paid?
Yes.
Is that not income? But you said you have not earned any income from 2018 to date as a politician. So no tax clearance. And that's what you are telling Rivers people. Madam, that is not nice. You are misleading the 10th Rivers State House of Assembly.
I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker, but I think I can still go back for. to
No, but you
correct
say
that.
he has not earned any income now.
It's not later. I'm
Time.
trying to be corrected.
Honorable Mba, any question?
A very good evening to you. Welcome to the Situation Room, live on Milan 98.3 FM. Well, I'm sure you'll be wondering what was playing out. The sound bite I played for you. Remember yesterday, the 9 commissioner nominees were sent to the Rivers State House of Assembly, and out of those, 4 of them were actually not cleared by the member of the House of by the members of the House of Assembly, and later yesterday night, we saw videos and everything that played out on the floor of the house yesterday. So the soundbite I played right now, I was part of the 4 commissioner nominees that were not cleared on the floor of the house. So let me just run through real quick. One of them was with Tğᴇ Amakre, is a lawyer who hailed from Calabari Axis. As the chairman, House Committee on Information and Public Petition, Dr. N.M. George, informed the lawmakers about 11 petitions that were filed against Amakre on his involvement with community crisis. Another one was Professor Alasia, professor of medicine, former chairman of the Nigerian Medical Association and deputy chief medical director of the University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital. He was also screened, and he was not cleared actually. He was accused of poor performance during the screening by the lawmakers. He's also a medical scholar who is very famous for infectious disease representatives for the World Health Organization and editor-in-chief of the Nigerian Medical Journal. He was not cleared by the members. They said he didn't perform well during the screening. And another issue that was raised, issue of alleged mutilation of the date contained in his birth certificate and the discrepancies and inconsistency in his names in various certificates that he presented. But what I just played now was Charity Demoa, the only female amongst them, could not confidently express herself during the screening. She was rejected following her admittance that she had not paid tax since 2018. Why she was asked why she had no certificate, she had no tax certificate, she said, "I don't have work. I'm a politician." So the speaker, Right Honorable Martin Amowili, asked her that, "Why don't you pay tax since 2018? And she says, we are politicians and I don't have office." So eventually they found out that she was member of the she was a commissioner in the Rivers State Civil Service. So they asked her that when did she resign, or when was she relieved of her duty. Meanwhile, within that period, she also acted as acting caretaker committee chairperson for her local government. So that was around November last year. So the speaker asked her that, "Why didn't you file tax?" So that means between 2018 and 2026, she's been in the service, she's been getting salary, but she had never filed a tax from 2018 to 2026. So that was the basis. So a lot of people were raising issues around gender and all of that, because she was the only woman in the 9 commissioner nominees. But people were like, "Oh, because of gender, this and that." We eventually saw the videos, and then the reason why she wasn't screened was the fact that she couldn't present a tax certificate from 2018 when she's been on the payroll of the Rivers State government till 2026. She said she's a politician, that she does not have work. Let me take a short break. My guest joins us. We're going to be making a short trip to Abuja, and in continuation of our International Women's Day, we'll have another big guest joining us on the show today. Stick around.
What leadership? I have shown leadership. I have shown you cannot do this. If you do this, you pay for it.
Does it get better or worse? Are the actors ready or not? Are citizens onlookers or bastions of accountability? The questions pile up each day, 1,001. But hey, in the Situation Room, we are not carried away. We only ask the crucial questions and stick it in. Because the journey to El Dorado won't pardon missteps.
Based on the law, if you earn any income, you have to pay tax on it.
Join Oᴏᴜᴜ in the Situation Room, Mondays to Thursdays from 4 to 5:30 p.m. for the real action.
In the Kano State, they tried it. What happened? Even in Edo State, they tried it. Not what happened. What I would say is Mr. President is full of strategy.
You want to rubbish one of the governors? He does not believe that he must lose any battle. And you choose your fights now.
On your favorite dial, Mainland 98.3 FM, the Situation Room. Issues, personalities, and perspectives. We are always watching.
Nothing for Nigeria, fi shock me again, no. Politics for Nigeria, no fi surprise me again.
Thank you very much. So, the last part of the promo for this show says that nothing fit shock me again for Nigerian politics. So, when the result of the screening leaked out yesterday, and people were like, "Oh, she was screened out, the only woman," I just kept telling my colleagues that, can we just relax? Don't let us raise any rage baits about gender on this situation, especially because of the sensitivity of the week that we're in right now, where we're celebrating excellence, our women globally breaking bounds, shattering the ceiling and moving out of their comfort zone and doing some amazing stuff. I guess that was why the sentiment was easily whipped up yesterday, so much later in the night. And I saw the video and I'm like, listen guys, I kept telling you guys in the afternoon that, can we just relax? Don't let us whip up any gender sentiment on that issue. And then we found out that the reason why she was not screened was because she said, listen, I'm a politician, so between 2018 and 2026 I didn't file my tax, so I couldn't present any tax certificate. And then the speaker asked that, were you paid within those period? The time where you were the commissioner in the Rivers State Service Commission, were you paid? She said yes. When you were acting caretaker committee chairperson, were you paid? She said yes. He said, so why didn't you file your tax within that period? She said she's a politician, so apparently she feels like being within the public service should exempt you from tax. So that was what happened yesterday. I have to quickly put the record straight, so that we don't just allow the emotions to affect how we judge things at these days. Yesterday I had the immediate past chairperson of Onigbongbo Local Council Development Area, Barrister Honorable Rekiat Hazan, live in the studio with me. And then we looked at some of the myths and then the misconception around how far a woman can go within the political space, the challenges, and what are the limitations, and how much more can we ask for. And that was how we went through the conversation yesterday. So today on the show, I'm bringing a blend of both worlds, the corporate world and of course within the political space. So my guest joins us live on the show from, let me save her location at the moment. She's been there with us before. She's been live in the studio. She's a strategic communications and public affairs expert on one side. And on the other side, she was the former chief press secretary to the governor of Kogi State, Alhaji Yahaya Bello. So we'll have a conversation on both sides of the divide. And we're going to be looking at pushing through the lens of growth, the dynamics of a corporate queen, because we're celebrating International Women's Day. So all of the conversation we'll have on the show throughout the week will be centered around the excellence of our women, how much they've done to help the society to evolve, and how much they are getting at the moment. I mean, I'm not sure if it's been this good in a very long time. Look at world leaders, head of multinational organizations. I was talking about the top 10 highest earning bank CEOs in Nigeria today. About 60% of them are women, and they are doing exceptionally well. I'm sure you know that the banking sector in Nigeria is one of the most stable in the last few years. For every recapitalization stage, they are able to raise funds and get themselves competitive. And these changes had mostly been driven by women. Look at Tᴜɪ̀nᴜᴜ. I mean, look at countries in the world where they have women president, even in South America, where you feel like, oh, it's a different, conversation in their politics. So it's a good time to have this conversation. And there's no other person that could help us drive it through this afternoon than Mrs. Petra Tᴜɪ̀nᴜ. Good to have you join us on the show. Today, I always love you when you're live with me in the studio, by the way. But it's okay. We can get this one done.
Thank you very, very much, Aki. Thank you for having me. I always prefer the live session in the studio.
Yeah, the live session is always different.
Yes, the energy is different.
It's a delight to have you join us. Happy New Year on the show, but not Happy New Year. We always, have conversation, but on the show, it's Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you too.
And Happy International Women's Day. I think we should just talk about it on the open. For every time this celebration comes up, 8th of March every year, it looks like it's a ritual. It looks like it's one of those days that we're looking forward to. Sometimes the government will put up things, they'll put up events, global stage, UN and all of that. But significantly, as someone that had been at the forefront of empowering women, speaking for women, paying attention to the plight of the people on the other side of the ladder, what does every International Women's Day mean to you?
Thank you for that question, because yesterday I had a presentation and I wanted to open with this thought that you just raised now, but I thought, oh well, this is what. Let's not make it a little bit controversial. But I'm happy that you have raised it, because sometimes these things begin to become cliche. They begin to become like ritual, like you said. However, the challenge is on us as women to ensure that beyond March 8th, beyond the month of March, that these conversations continue and they do not remain at the level of conversation, that we actually now transition from speaking, from talking, from advocating to doing, because that is where real impact takes place. That is where you get it's the outcomes that make the impact. We can make all the speeches, we can write all the memos, we can advocate for all the policies, but where there are no implementation, where there is no tangible effort to translate speeches and words into actions, we are going to continue to regurgitate the same thing over and over again. And that is when it actually becomes a ritual. But when we go beyond speaking, when we go beyond writing to actually doing, then the day becomes a reminder that there are still issues that affect women, that we are not where we were, but we are not where we are supposed to be, and that work to be done by women and by men, that we need the entire society to join hands together to ensure that we have an equitable society, because only then can there be progress. There will be no progress when some people feel resentful towards others within the same system. So if there is equity, then we'll be able to work together and then we'll be able to have a progressive society.
Okay. I like how this conversation is starting, because I've always said it. I grew up in a girls' hostel. That's what I call my house. I have 5 beautiful sisters, my mom, my grandma. So I got used to the different growth stage of a woman, from my mom to my grandma to my siblings, so it kind of helps me to, gravitate towards what a woman goes through, especially in a society where they will say that, oh, the odds are against the women. So when I see how people prepare for International Women's Day, and then you look at what happens every other day, you look at what happens on those International Day of the Girl Child, you look at what happens on those other days, and I'm always like, why do we have to wait for this particular day? Because we raise the conversation. So that's a day out of 365, and then when we have a leap year, maybe 366. What happens in those other days? What are we putting in place, to make sure that the plight of a woman is not just looked into, but is intentionally sustained as changing the narrative? So thank you very much for opening this conversation from that point, so that it doesn't become a ritual. So let's talk about it on a deeper space now. I mean, you've excelled on both sides. It's a lot of credit and hard work to where you are today. And I first knew you when you were the CPS to the former governor of Kogi State. We're going to talk about that part of the conversation generally. But now you're within the corporate communication space, and you're also still taking the charge. Talk to us about that transition and what has kept you this big on the job.
Oh, well, I guess one of the things that has helped my transition, because I went from private to public and back to private, is that at some point, because at this level we are talking leadership, at some point, right, whether it's at in the public space or in the private sector, leadership is basically the same thing. It's the same philosophy that guides them, and the real work is the same. It is understanding people, it is trying to navigate the interests of those people, and it is trying to build trust amongst the people that you lead and amongst the space where you function. So basically, it's the same thing. And
Hello.
Yes, I'm here. Sorry.
Okay.
What has helped is the fact that one has to have courage. One has to understand one's environment. One has to understand limitations and work hard to ensure that you do not allow those limitations define who you are. Because it takes more than competence. That's the truth. It takes more than competence, especially for a woman to rise and climb the ladder either in their career, whether in the corporate space or the public space. So to excel, you just need to give it what it takes. Resilience, grit, diligence. Those are the ingredients that actually refine competence. Those are the ingredients that refine character. And one must have staying power and understand challenges for what they are. One must have the courage to fail. One must have the courage to venture. I was reading something yesterday, and it's a very long article. Somebody was talking about their life. And the person said something. I just picked one sentence. The person said, I have failed again and again. I've had a few successes as well, but I will dwell on the failure because there is no lesson in success. I've held on to that. Don't be afraid to fail. Have the courage to actually venture out and fail, because that is where the lessons are. So you pick the lessons, you use them to get better, and then you keep pressing forward. I guess that's the summary of the journey.
I mean, that's a big summary, a summary that we can pick so much out of. But let me also make a quick reference to this. I was reading through an interview that was granted by Mrs. Aisha Mumuni. That was a top, shot at one of the biggest multinational communication company in Nigeria. I don't want to run on the name. And then she talks about the fact that apart from being a champion for women rights, that she feels like in a space there is a stereotype against how a woman can go. So she's in a meeting, and then the meeting is running late into the night, and then someone tells her that, madam, won't you be going home now? It's getting late. And then she tells them, I say, listen, I have a target to meet, I have a KPI to meet, I have responsibilities, and I'm here on this job because I deserve to be on this job, not because somebody gives me on the platform of is a woman. Let's bend the rules a little bit. So let's talk about give to gain. That's the theme of this year's celebration. What do you make of that? I've seen opinion around it that women are not giving anything. They work so hard to be where they are. Does this theme, does it reduce the efforts that women putting into achieving the results that we are celebrating right now?
Well, I didn't see it from that perspective. I saw it more as a call to action. I saw it more as a charge for today's woman that you have to give to gain. I didn't see it from the perspective of what have we been given. I see it more, like I said, a call to action. As a woman, what is that thing you desire? What are you willing to give for it? And I think in my the last response I gave to the question that you asked before this one, I was talking about the willingness to actually look at other qualities that ensures that your competence shines through, that give visibility to your competence. Those are the things you are willing to give. The discipline. Are you willing to give discipline? Because when you discipline yourself, when you build your character, you become resilient, and then you gain trust, you gain credibility, you gain visibility. It makes you an authority, a credible authority that cannot be dismissed, even when people disagree with you. The woman who spoke about in her interview about men wondering if she should go home at a particular time. That's one experience that I had in public space, right? In public space, it's even more derogatory. It's not a question that might be cloaked in the garb of concern. It comes across
they say
like
to your face.
They say to your face like an accusation. Well, are you not supposed to be a married woman? Why are you in meeting with men at 11 p.m., 12 a.m., 1 a.m.? Why are you here? Like, this is not the space for you. You should be home sleeping. You should be home cuddling somebody. Those are the kinds of questions that were asked, sometimes in innuendo, sometimes very bluntly. But then you grow beyond that. As a woman, I hardly see myself when it comes to my task as a woman. If I have a job to do, then I have a job to do. I do not remember my gender. I only remember I'm a woman when I stand before the mirror and I need to do my makeup and get myself straight and ready and on point for the job ahead. Once I get into the role of delivering on the task, I don't see myself as a woman, and I do not tolerate questions about my capacity based on my gender. And I have to say that thankfully, it's been a while that I've had to contend with that. But I am not oblivious to the fact that there are still women who contend with these situations, these social issues every single day. And I hope that we are able to mature to the point where we understand that these are questions that belong to centuries past. And it is why on days like International Child, I always say we need to take the conversation away from how a girl should be, what a girl should do, how a girl should sit, how they should speak, how they should laugh, how they should dress, how they should behave, and actually reduce the attention, not remove it, reduce it, and, place the other half of the attention on the boy. Because the girl child is not going to live in a society in isolation. She's going to live in the same society where boys are given almost like a blank pass, right? A free pass to be whatever they want to be, whoever they want to be. So as we are grooming the girl child to behave a certain way in society, we need to also pay attention to the boy and ensure that we are building an egalitarian society. It might sound idealistic, it may sound utopian, but it is achievable when it comes to the basic tenets of human behavior that dignifies every human being regardless of their sex. This should just be basic. We should train children to grow up to become adults that actually think of the human dignity before gender, before any difference.
Now let's go back to what you said. You said you were in the private space, you got into the public space, now you came back into the private space. And I know that even while you were within the public space, you were still keeping, your private growth consistently. Because I saw that recently you made post about, how you had like a social space in the FCT back then, where people come in, watch ball, So you had the balance of both. What were the challenges that you faced in the private sector that it gave you a different or a better experience to survive the public sector? And when you were coming back into the private sector, what were the things you gained in the private sector or in the public sector that are now useful for you in the private sector?
Okay, so I go to the first outing in the private sector. What were the challenges? Challenges were everyday challenges, right? And you know, the environment we are all exposed to as Nigerians, as citizens of this great country. The challenges of social infrastructure, the challenges of access to finance for projects, for entrepreneurial ideas, and then the challenges of, you know, merging all facets of life and still making a decent living. That's the challenge that I saw, and as part of my job, those were part of the challenges that we tried to help people make meaning of. Now, when I got into the public space, I realized something. I took a lesson. The first lesson was that what we see from outside isn't always what it is inside. I'm not now making a case for government, because I mean they can communicate better. They can actually help citizens own some of these policies. They can do better with the way they try to promulgate policies and how they carry the citizens along, or how they do not carry us along. However, I realize that sometimes our criticisms are not from a place of knowledge. Again, whose fault is that? That's arguable and is not the focus of today's conversation. I realized that early on, and then I realized that contrary to what people say, well, this might spark up anger in some people. Nigeria is not a rich country. Nigeria is rich in resources, but Nigeria, remove the corruption, assuming that we have real good leaders who are not corrupt, we are still not rich. So corruption just makes our not rich become party, right? We are not rich because when you are measuring the wealth of a country, you are measuring the wealth based on GDP and population. What does this country have? How many people are these resources supposed to serve? I'm not talking of resources beneath the earth now. I'm talking about resources that have been converted into, you know, utility. So I also discovered that, but like I said, there is the issue of corruption, of course. Now, back to private space again. What have I? It's not so much of a lesson as much as, do I call it an enlarged worldview? I came out of public sector with a better mindset, with an enlarged worldview, that I'm able to read things from different perspectives, that the range of colors I see now go beyond black and white. That I see I even see bright colors in gray situations. So it also has made me, beyond the workspace, a better human being, because it means that I'm able to actually now understand without excusing people's weaknesses. I can understand the weakness, I can understand the shortfalling, but not necessarily excuse it. Understanding means that I will not respond or react the way I used to. So it's given me a better worldview. It's made me a better leader, because like I said, the public space, leadership in the public space is a lot more about managing human beings and interests. So also in the private sector, it's made me a better leader, I hope.
Okay, because I wanted to ask that question based on the transition. I know that waking up every day and managing, everything that goes out from the governor, it's a big responsibility, and not just anyhow governor, a very significant one at that. Because I mean, a lot of people are always still, for context, the former governor of Kogi State, who was your principal, was the youngest governor born after the Civil War. Yeah, we've had, the Donald Dukes of this world, Jews or Kala and all of that, but the only person to have been democratically elected as a governor born after the Civil War was Governor Yahaya Bello. So a lot of people could connect with him being the young person, and that was the period where the not too young to rule debate was very, very high. So I can imagine the pressure, that he had to manage those times. But significantly, how important is having love from home? I'm sure you understand what I'm saying in the line of where you've been, because I'm sure the moment you left that public office, even where you are right now, is another big office, even though it's not, public as such. But how does having that support from home, how important is it for how far you've come?
Oh, well, it's everything, right? Because as humans, you remember the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. At some point, all you want is to have food in your tummy, you want
Shelter.
clothes on your back, and you want shelter over your head. And then after a while, you begin to aspire for more. And then you get to a level where you want accomplishment, you want a feeling of fulfillment, and of course, you want validation. Validation is that thing that cements it, that, okay, I'm doing the right thing, I'm on course. It might seem difficult, it might seem like this journey is torturous, but the validation from people who matter helps the burden, it helps lighten the burden. So having love from home, it makes all the difference. Having support from home makes all the difference, and that's why it's the journey is more difficult for women who don't have support of a loving family, of married ones who don't have support of a loving spouse or a significant other. It becomes a lot more difficult for them to lead even at work. When you have support from home, it makes the burden a lot lesser and the task just easier because your focus is sharpened and you have clarity.
So let's send a message to the girl child. I mean, someone listening right now feels like, oh, this person speaks so well. Her profile is huge. She's done this. She's done that. She's still doing this. Speak to that girl child listening to me right now that feels like in the next 15 years, I want to be Mrs. Petra Onyegbule. I also want to be a spokesperson. I want to be the chief press secretary. I want to be the head of this. I want to be the head of that. I want to be, a communication expert. Speak to that girl child and help her understand the limitations she could face going forward and how she could surmount those things.
Oh, okay. So the first thing I would say is that always strive every day to be the best version of yourself. Never want to be like someone else because you don't know what their journey has been. However, I would say the beginning is to read. Readers are leaders. Read. Reading transports you from a world you know into a universe you don't know and you may never be in. But it just shapes and broadens your worldview and you understand all the limitless possibilities that exist. From the pages of a book or the pages of whatever you're reading on your tablet, be it ebook, you should be able to see and learn. Reduce the consumption of content that are not educational and not for you yet. Content are supposed to entertain sometimes, yes. Human beings need entertainment. Reduce entertainment. Don't consume so much entertainment. We eventually become what we take in. What we take in defines what we become. So make sure you read a lot, and then learn how to speak. Learn how to write. Again, have the courage to go into unfamiliar terrains. Join clubs in schools if there still are clubs. Yeah, there still are clubs in schools. Debating clubs, public speaking. Have mentors. You cannot discount the place of good mentorship. Have mentors. Mentors, not role models. Mentors that can guide you on your journey to becoming. And at the end of the day, like I said, every time you fall, don't just get up and zoom off. When you fall, because for sure, if you are doing something and you are moving, you will fall. Get up and look back, take stock. What happened? What could you have done better? And just live each day. Do your best and live each day as they come. Don't create visibility at all costs. Let competence give credence to why you have visibility.
Okay. There seems to be a disconnect between where a 20-year-old lady in your time, and when I say in your time, for context, my guest is not old, but what I'm trying to say is that I mean, if you look at a typical 20-year-old now that is exposed negatively, positively, I always tell people that social media is a space for social good, so you get what you're looking for in there. But what I'm saying is that I asked my guest this same question yesterday. There is the Gen Z, connect, the conversation. We know they hear anything, like they are exposed. There's TikTok. There are different challenges going on TikTok. There's a whole lot of nudity everywhere. Is that a failure of mentorship? Because you made mention of it right now. Is that a failure of mentorship, or you think the message is not just going down to the right places?
I would actually place that buck on the table of parents. That's a failure of parenting. At some point, I'm a millennial, right? And I have a Gen Z daughter. I know that many millennials are guilty of us saying that, oh, we suffered during our time. Oh, we don't want our children to go through what we went through. And so there is no balance. We just, two extremes. We went through A, therefore our children should go the Z. We forgot all the alphabets in between. Somehow, children became exposed to the internet at a very young age. No boundaries, no filter. There's no cap on what they could do, what time they should be up, what time they can or they must go to bed. So we see that disconnect and that dysfunction with some of the Gen Zs, not all of them. We have very fantastic, there's been a whole blanket labeling of Gen Z as these people that are egregious, they are, unhinged, they are rude, they are loud, they are blunt, but there are exceptions, and not very significant exceptions actually. They have bright minds because they are inquisitive, and they have there is no limitation to what they can be. They are able to express themselves. So I think that the early exposure to consumption of negative content on TV, on the internet, has led to minds that are unable now to filter what they can do and what they can't do. They are unable to be responsible for their own actions sometimes. But again, that's where now mentorship may come in, because I don't see how mentorship would fix bad parenting unless the child now is willing to make a turnaround for their own good. If it is a rotten case, God forbid, then there is not much mentorship can do. At 20 years, we were already making serious decisions, right? Let me use a basic example. Some 20-year-olds can't do things by themselves without asking. I know some can't even go from Yanopaja to Lekki without, some sort of support. But I know that in our own days, 20 is too old now. At 14, 15, you are traveling from Kaduna to wherever. Of course, I understand the security implications, right, today. But then we were more streetwise. Yes, so that's it. We have more Ajebo children now who are not street smart. But in our days, at 20, you were already street smart. You could negotiate. You understood the world. We were not sheltered. Most of us were not sheltered. So I guess that's the difference between us and them. They are more exposed in terms of the things they know at 20. We were more grounded in things that actually made life. We were more grounded in the experience of living, so to speak. So thankfully, the Gen Alpha, the generation after Gen Z, is the correction for most parents. They've made mistakes, because most parents of Gen Zs are actually also first-time parents. So they've made the mistakes, they've learned the lessons, and correcting with the next generation.
Okay, so I'm sure a lot of people want to join the conversation, so we have a way to go about that. But before we start picking calls, let's go a bit political. The temptation is very huge. I didn't want to, dig into the political side of you, but it's something we need to talk about. I remember there was a time you were on the show, and then we talked about the reserving seats, the affirmation, the 30% this and that, the commitment to it. We had a little extra around states that, you know, paid special attention to, you know, pushing women up politically. But where are we right now? I was watching, I read the interview of the FCT Senator Tᴜɪ̀nᴜᴛᴇʀ, you know, responding to what the FCT minister said, where the FCT minister said that Senator Tᴜɪ̀nᴜᴛᴇʀ will not return to the Senate. And Senator Tᴜɪ̀nᴜᴛᴇʀ was saying that the FCT minister is not God. She doesn't know why the FCT minister is so obsessed with her, and then this and that the people would decide. There's also the case of the senator from your state. Yes, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. You know, there's been back and forth issues in the House, a suspension, these. Talk to us about the situation of, or let me put it this way, the environment, the political environment of, you know, women in Nigeria right now. Is it getting better? Or you think we're not taking the right steps?
Okay. So I remember this conversation that we had in the studio the last time I was your guest. And I did mention that we need to start asking where the godmothers are, right? And I am still particular about that. That women who have gained and enjoyed visibility as political leaders need to do a whole lot more in raising another generation of female leaders. And I said then, and I'm repeating today, that it saddens me to see that many times even rich women, you know, wealthy women, women with the clout, women with the influence, would rather support men, right, than they would female. Am I saying that women should only support women? No. I'm saying that women have to make conscious efforts so that all the speeches that they make, speeches that we make on March 8th, actually are not lip service, that we now translate those things into actions. And when we make speeches, oh, the girl child should be this, the girl child should be that, let's look around us. The girl children are not in Mars. They are on this planet. They are within our environment. Let us seek for them. Let us see the ones that have potentials for public office and begin to groom them. Let's stop making these kinds of conversations accidental. Female leadership is not an accident. Now I come to the specific questions that you've asked me. I am so happy that Senator did not make the statement of the FCT minister about agenda, because most times that's also how women, you know, try to trivialize our advocacy and try to trivialize the pains that we actually go through. There are real issues confronting women. Sometimes some of the issues confronting us are the same issues that confront men. In the political space, the same way Senator Iretti says that the FCT minister is, you know, well, he is playing politics. The politics is playing with her. It's the same politics is playing with his fellow men. So I respect her a lot for not weaponizing her gender that speaks to the issues. But then she has said it, that he is not God and the people will decide. So at the end of the day, politics, simple definition, Harold Laswell, right? The politics is who gets what, when, and how. So it now depends on how she's able, whose interest she's willing to meet the people, and what compromises she's willing to make, what alliances she's willing to build and can build, what handshakes she can give and take. So those are the political issues, the political arrangements that she needs to sort. Now to Senator Natasha. I hold an unpopular opinion on the issue that happened. She's my senator, by the way. On the issue that happened in the House. The issue did not happen because she was a female senator. It happened because she was, maybe there were events, right? Maybe there was a backstory. But then leadership means that you are able to compartmentalize issues. There is a backstory that this nation did not know, that the world does not know. You sort the backstory however way. But when you bring it into flouting a simple rule of the Senate, that's where a lot of people miss me, because I don't support the argument that if the rule says you have to do X before you can do Y, then you do X and then do Y, so that you're right. You can speak that same point she wanted to make. She could have just changed her sitting position and still made that point. I believe that wisdom is profitable to direct. I believe that part of showing wisdom is knowing what battle to take on. Like I said, there are only 4 females. We've analyzed these things before. One of the very few numbers in Africa, even in the world, people they are advancing in female representation. So even in Nigeria, we have progressed before and then now we retrogressed. So we have only 4 female senators. The battle is huge. The issues are real. And the real advocacy is not child's play. It's a lot of work. And she's doing tremendous work as a senator. But on that one, leadership means having the wisdom to be able to say, you know what, this is a slight, this is an issue, but it is not so much a big issue. Because at the end of the day, Kogi Central, where I'm from, we lost 6 months of her standing representation. And then she went back to the Senate and went to the seat that she was supposed to, this whole seat,
she still sat there.
And she sat there. So I'm asking myself, what
was the
did we
6
gain?
months for?
So I guess that what we gained is, sometimes it's hindsight. Hindsight is 20/20, as they say. So I don't know what she feels about the 6 months, but what I feel is those of us women should learn from it. There are times that we should pick our battles. Some things, even when you are right, are not worth it. Know when to stoop to conquer. When you conquer, then you have everything, actually.
Okay. You made mention of the fact that we made progress at some point, and I'm sure that was when we had, a lot of women at the red and the green chamber. But now, I can literally just head count the people we have. The senator from Lagos, of course, the former deputy governor to Governor Wike when he was governor. She's also in the Senate, and of course, Senator Tᴏɪᴛᴜ from the FCT, and the senator representing Kogi Central, that's Senator Natasha Akpotudon. So I know that there was a time where we had, some healthy representation. I think even in Kogi State at some point, maybe under Yaya Bello or so, he made it mandatory that all vice chairmen or chairperson must be women. If I'm not mistaken, at some point. What took us back? Is it that we couldn't justify, and when I say we, I'm talking about the women now, is it that we couldn't justify that opportunity, or you felt like, if we made progress, we should be building on it? There are countries in the world where they have women presidents and nobody looks at them. Look at when Donald Trump went to invade I'm trying to remember the country and arrested the president. The acting president, Venezuela, the acting president is a woman. For a country that has issues with drugs, issues with crime, a woman is holding forth in that country. Why couldn't we build up on the success that we achieved at some point?
Oh, well, I can't sit here and diagnose what happened. But what I would say is that women need to play the game the way men play the game. And now I'm going to still use my Senator Natasha Akpotudon as a reference point. She played the game. She didn't get to the Senate easily. She didn't get it the first time. She tried before. She didn't get it. She was in SDP, and then she realized that, okay, maybe the platform is actually also a problem. She decamped to a bigger platform, and then she gave it everything. Let us not also displace the fact that our politics is very, very money-centric. And so you need to have the resources. So there is I'm sorry to quote the Bible, there's a passage in the Bible that says that would you embark on a project without knowing the cost? You are supposed to cost it first before you go into the project. So if imagine when Governor Yahaya Bello was alleged to or was reported to have cut the road because the spokesperson for government at the time actually he confirmed that it happened. They cut the road and yes, to her area, and it made it difficult. Imagine that she did not have the resources to ensure that it was fixed and that mobility could actually take place. She did that overnight. So we need to also, this is where the point I raised about the godmothers, the wealthy women, what are they doing to prop up capable females, competent females? Because if we are going to play the game the way the men play it, it means that we need to have, like it or not, the godfathers, we need to have the godmothers, we need to have people who believe in us, we need to have the money, and we need to have all this in addition to a solid plan. Without all this, the solid plan is just what it is. It will never see the light of day. So women, and maybe after beating the men, we now also need to consolidate, ensure that we do not go back from where we came. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And we need the men, actually, because women can't do this alone. We need the men.
So where would you rather be? The public space or the private section?
Yeah, the private space. Because the private sector is doing a whole lot in transforming, especially the economy of Nigeria. And then the public space, because the public space, I would not want to be in the public space because it can be very toxic. Very toxic in the sense that even some of the criticisms are unfounded, baseless, and some of them actually are demonic. When I say demonic, I don't mean voodoo, I mean demonic in English language. Some of the criticisms attack not the issues, but your personality, drag your family into it, concoct baseless stories, and you begin to wonder what is going on. And then, of course, people feeling entitled to you, access to you, to your resources. They don't care. They think when they see you, they think that everything you own belongs to public. It belongs to them. And thank God you saw the post where I made. I had to, also think of private endeavor. Somebody told me one day that but I was not supposed to engage in a private endeavor to make money. I said I wasn't stealing money. The demands were crushing me. I was crumbling under public demands of my child is in school. I need school fees. I need this. I need that. And you have to get to a level of, you need to become some level of callous for you not to respond to some of these very, very genuine demands. So I had to have something that brought in money. So it was too much work and it was a thankless job. So I would be in the private sector where I'm making a difference and I can actually get fulfillment and my peace of mind is not compromised. My mental health is not compromised. So the private space it is.
Okay, I mean, I asked my guest yesterday as well, but she said, no, she's still in politics, so she's not leaving the political space anytime soon. But I mean, I understand that transition can be a bit, and maybe why it was, it felt seamless for you was that you were already in the private space, you got into the public space, and you didn't turn your back on the private space. So when you came out, it was pretty much easier. So let's try to wrap up the conversation on the show today, so that we can open the phone lines and allow the people to engage you for a short period of time before I let you go. What is the way forward? And now we've done another International Women's Day just about 2 days ago. Everywhere is quiet as usual. The drums of election is building, and then it's getting more toxic every single day. It's also getting more capital intensive every single day, running for political offices in Nigeria. But more than anything else, how positive are you that things would get better in terms of how the environment is conducive for women to thrive? And it's not just in the public space, even in the private space. A lot of people tell you that, there's victimization in the workplace. There's harassment in the workplace. You go for an interview because you refuse to do this. They tell you that you cannot do this. These are conversations that we have with people. Are you positive that things can get better going forward?
Absolutely, Akin. You began the conversation by reading out the many strides women are making. You talked about 10 CEOs in the banking sector, 60% being women who are the highest earners. Like I said, we are not where we want to be. We are not where we should actually be. But we are also not where we used to be. I am an incurable optimist by orientation. And I think that, yes, things will get better. Maybe someday, I don't know how much conversation you've had on the new electoral law, but the electoral law is supposed to provide a new bedrock, to address some of these issues that you have raised, money politics, how even parties are supposed to conduct themselves, maybe someday. And also, there are a lot of gender mentorships, ongoing. A lot of mentors in the private space. A lot of mentorship programs ongoing for female professionals for how to navigate complex situations in the workplace. And I know that more and more organizations are trying to rework and reposition themselves and have good policies, right? Good policies. I know that we have the National Industrial Court where you can actually seek redress on some of these issues. So I would say that the way forward is we should not wait for anybody to come and save us by and large at the end of the day. Sometimes we need to be prepared to be, in quote, the sacrificial lamb. Sometimes it's difficult again it used to be actually, not anymore. If you are being harassed, there are little equipment that can help you actually now capture these things for evidence, right? If as a female you are being harassed in the workplace, maybe sexual harassment, maybe intimidation, maybe you are now being suppressed and you are discriminated against based on, gather evidence. It's not going to be a walk in the park, but approach the courts, right? And if one is able to stay the course, you will get justice. But it's so difficult because come tomorrow, and if you take your employer to court because somebody within the system has sexually harassed you, you are not going to be in the system anymore. So sometimes when people think of what am I going to eat, it becomes, okay, let me just endure it until there is another way. So it's not a one-dimensional approach that is going to solve this issue. It's multi-dimensional, and I don't think that we have the time to really look into it and do justice to it. But if you want, we can set another time and look at this issue very critically. The causes are multidimensional, therefore the solutions will not be one-pronged.
It's always a pleasure to have you join us. So if there's a need for us to have that conversation, trust me, I'm 100% available, and I would have to schedule, a time for that. But you've given us the positive sides, the negative sides, and you've also told us how optimistic we can be going forward. And that's the reason why we decided to have these conversations with you today. More than anything else, it's always an inspiration when you see people, that understand how the system works, and they are very intentional about making sure that they are not just growing alone, they're also pulling other people. So I will still go back to that question, and I don't know, politically, are you anytime soon? Because I know that you are fully invested in your association. I know that you do a lot of social networking, bringing people from your tribe together, regularly organizing meetings and giving back to the society. You do a lot of that. Are you coming out anytime soon? You should take the lead. If your other people thinks it can happen, then it should start from people like you that have been at that top level. Am I expected to start sharing some of your flyers anytime soon? Just give me an exclusive on the show. Make it my own exclusive.
No, we are not saying that. By the way, I'm still in politics,
I know.
I'm still very active. My ward and states and By the way, I have a national assignment for APC in the forthcoming convention. So I'm still very, very active. But to seek for an electoral office, I say no, because the numbers are even against me, right? Except a miracle happens. I'm from Ogori Magongo, and then in Kogi Central, it's very small, and then you have the Ebiras, who are the dominant people, and politics is a game of numbers. So unless there is a stroke of, and our politics is a game of number, and our politics is very tribal leaning. So it's very difficult. So no, I don't see myself occupying any elective office at all. It's not on my cards.
Okay, we'll keep our fingers crossed, but we're rooting for you, and we're also hoping that even if it's an appointment, because I mean, they always talk about the goldfish that does not have an hiding place. So I'm very sure that, some way, somehow, something will pop up. If you're just joining us on the show today, let me admit that you may have missed a very interesting conversation, but you can go on our social media platforms, Facebook and YouTube, or streaming live, and you can actually just take your time and watch or listen to the session over again. We're looking through, pushing through the lens of growth, the dynamics of a corporate coin. And my guest on the show today is a strategic communications and public affairs expert. She's Mrs. Petra Akinti Onyegbule. Let me quickly chip this one. The former chief press secretary to the former governor of Kogi State, Governor Yahya Bello. So it's a big fish. So, and I really needed to reach out to her to help us understand how it was serving within that space and where she's right now. But please, if you don't mind, I would like to keep you on standby so that we'll pick calls and listen to one of the things that the callers may want to say. And if anyone wants to ask you any question, hope you don't mind.
I don't mind at all. I'm here on standby.
Thank you very much. 0913-600-0410. We've got loads of messages to read, and I'm liking the tone of the messages, by the way. But you can also join us. Just call. My guest is here. She will still listen to anything you have to say. If there are questions you also want to ask, 0913-600-0410. Let's do the calls. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Hello.
Okay, good evening.
You're welcome.
Yes, I greet Petra. I schooled in Kogi, so I know Bagongo is a very small place within the axis, so I understand where she's coming from. And before I even talk more on that, the issue of River State that you brought before you started this program, I'm beginning to see Fᴜᴜbara as somebody who does not really know how to fight back. I think Wike, he took his time to study that man, that he's somebody that he can bully. That's why he chose him. He didn't go for any politician, because if I am in Fᴜᴜbara's shoes, I'm telling you by now I will be controlling the whole of River State House of Assembly members. So I think he has seen him that he does not have the guts and what it takes. But I want to ask Petra this question, because when she was talking, when she was talking about Natasha and then Iṛetikingebe, she did mention that she's happy that Iṛeti did not mention that she's a gender. The question I want to ask is, if what she's saying is so, why are they now agitating for 30% women, this, that, women and their gender and all of that? Because if women, to me, should be given that priority, good, and that, today in this country, women are occupying, positions. You can't take that away from Tinubu. Honestly, in Lagos State, he gave it to women, a lot of them. And I think he's doing the same now. So why is she saying that, as a woman, they should not, she doesn't see herself as a woman and nobody should come and talk as a woman? Personally, I don't want to agree with that.
Okay, thank you. She's going to respond to that. I understand, where the question is coming from, but let's pick a couple of more calls so that my guest can respond to all of the questions at once. Hello, good evening.
Good evening. This is Can
you hear me?
Good evening.
Okay, you're welcome.
Yeah. You see the issue.
Oh, Mr. Alaiwola, please try and call back. I'm sure that a lot of people want to get through to the phone. Please try and call back if you can before we leave the show. 0900-0410. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Hello, good to have you join us. Your name and where are you calling from?
This is Alhaji Shuaib.
You're welcome, Alhaji Shuaib.
How are you?
I'm good, and you?
Quickly, I just come in and met you in your program. Now, regard to that, my sister sitting by at your phone there, Petra. I'm glad she said something that I really appreciate. That means, are you hearing me?
I'm with you.
That the issue of Natasha. She said when she came back, the seat that was allocated to initially, which she rejected, that's what she eventually went and sit down. And that's what I was thinking, that you have good there and see what good to say. The issue that happened 10 years ago, we start bringing it as if it's, that's exactly what was in my mind, what this lady said now. But of course, Nigeria now, when the lady said, everybody, because it's not, the issue is what matters. It's quite unfortunate that this country, I always say, I mean, in regards to that lady, I'm very happy that I have a resourceful person in life.
Thank you. Thank you very much. 0913-600-0410. Well, you're live on Mainland 98.3 FM. We're still celebrating International Women's Day. So if you observe that all of the guests I've been having on the show through the week are women that have gotten to the peak or maybe excelled in their choosing, career. So we try to bring them up, politics, social space, and let's have what they think and how things can also get better, especially from where we are right now. And I think my biggest takeaway today from my guest is the fact that she said we made progress. At some point, it looks like we're taking, some steps backward. Maybe we couldn't sustain all of those, but I'm very positive, especially as I've seen a lot of young people in this administration, getting big, political offices and doing some amazing stuff. For me, it's a win. And I think we need to also build on all of those as well. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening, Mr. Ope.
You're welcome.
I also greet your guest there, our mother.
Your name, where are you calling from?
Joseph from Magboro.
Okay.
I wanted to thank our guest there, the way she spoke about Senator Natasha, the way she addressed that issues of the way she used to do in the house there. They allocated a seat for her and she decided not to. See, what this woman is trying to do is that she's just trying to play with people and Nigerians' emotions. You know that, many people are against the APC and whatever she did, people will not look at her side. So he's just playing with people's emotions. And when the woman addressed the issue, that wisdom is profitable. In fact, she has spoken a lot. And in fact, I really love the analysis. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I have messages to read on WhatsApp, but I'll try and read the messages here. I just want to say good evening to you. I thank you for the guests you brought yesterday and today. Sort of gender balance is not going to be a battle for the weak, and I'm glad that you have women that are pushing through the barriers. God bless Mainland FM and God bless you. This is Carolina, I beg apologies. Carolina from Egbeda. Thank you very much for the message. Hello, good evening. Hello. Okay, I'll try and call back. That's Mr. Gege Joshua. I'll try and call back. I'll just pick a couple of more messages. Then I get to wrap up the call. Okay. Hello, good evening. Hello,
good evening.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. This is okay from Ikeja.
Okay, good to have you join us on the show today.
Yeah, good evening. I good to your guest.
Thank you.
Yeah, she spoke very well. But it's my problem in this country that there's an angle we are not looking at. Africa, when you talk about Africa, gender equality, women and men, there's always a gap, whether you like it or not.
Sure.
This is not the Western world, understand? It's because technological advancement, people are growing education, people are going to school, opening their eyes and minds and, crossing the shores, knowing things. that is what we consider we're going. But the point is that it's going to be a very, very tough battle for the ladies. You remember under the last regime, that's the late President Muhammadu Buhari. Remember the statement he made one time like that about women? Understand? I believe that was part of the reason why in this present dispensation now, it's as if the women are not more like in the past. But I still give it to our current president. Because I remember when he was governor of Lagos, he had so many women in his cabinet, and now he's still trying to bring them on board again. You see, so when you talk about Africa, women have to really fight to get a place in reckoning, you know, in the nation. When you talk about politics or the political scene or the public space, that is one thing we have to know. Then on this Natasha issue, I think something must have happened before Natasha refused taking the other seat she was given. Nobody's asking what transpired before then. Maybe somebody's trying to show maybe power. I'm bigger than you. I'm this and that. Maybe if you must do what I tell you to do. After all, despite what in the state echo chamber, I still have superior power over you. So I have to look at that angle as well. But with the women in that house is that when the issue came up, why did they stand behind that? They all kept quiet now. I remember what happened in the past Senate assemblies, you know, where they involved some ladies. So for me, Natasha is still my she I still who I have. If she didn't do that thing, even the women and the women, I mean, the women had like 90% in Nigeria. I mean, talking about their relevance in Nigeria.
Thank you.
So that doesn't. Good evening.
Thank you very much. We need to go. To allow my guests go. Are you still with us? Hello.
Okay, I'm here.
Okay, I'm here. I'm sure you've listened to a cross session of comments and the message. Okay, let me just take this few other messages before we leave. Good evening to you, Mainland FM. The issue with Senator Natasha has nothing to do with the gender. It was just a case of not allowing herself to be bullied, and I'm always proud of her. Your guest has spoken really well. Please, when else she's coming, tell us ahead. Okay, I will certainly do that. Don't worry. I can't wait to have her back in Lagos so that we can have a different conversation, to the one we've had today. But let's wrap it up from here. It's been okay. We can't pick calls again. We need to go. But it's been a space of expectations. If you look at this current administration, there are a lot of young women, taking leadership position. And I'm not just talking about maybe media aides and all of that. I'm talking about heads of agencies, of government at the federal level. I follow a lot of them on social media. Is this the right step towards the right direction? And how sustainable do you think we can get this done? Let's, end the conversation from there.
Okay, I want to thank the guests, callers who tuned in and called in and sent messages. Thank you very much for your responses. I'd like to just address one aspect, the aspect of affirmative action. I think it's a shortcut, and at the end of the day, I don't think it will actually address the issue very well. Now, everybody who has spoken about affirmative action has mentioned the president when he was governor. Now that he is president, he's not doing affirmative action based on a certain percentage has to be reserved for women. What he is doing is actually putting competent women into positions he is convinced that they can hold.
Function.
And I think that is the conversation we should be having. Take a look at the engagements we have on social media. It's reducing now. But if you were very, very, very active on social media, like maybe 15 years ago, 10 years ago, you will find something very shocking. That sometimes when people from the north make certain comments or make certain posts or take positions, they derogatively tell them, oh, look at this quota system candidate. And I don't want that to be the lot of women. Women are competent. Let them get what they deserve based on their competence and capability. Let it not be, oh, is it not just this affirmative action woman that is coming? Do you think you deserve it? You think if you had, nobody can tell Natasha that she did not deserve it. Not because she did. She does not only have the brilliance, she also has the grit, the bronze. She showed it, and we all saw it. So that's why I said, let women fight for these things. We can do it. Is it going to be easy? No. And that we need men to support us. I did say that. And again, just a little clarification. I don't believe in gender equality. I believe in gender equity. What is due to Petra should not go to Peter simply because she's a female. And what is not due to Petra should not come to her simply because she's a female. Let everything be on merit. There are other factors that assist merit, yes. But is Petra capable? Is she competent? Is she? Yes. Then that is it. So that's been my argument. I'm not against women being given the prominence that we deserve. I am saying that it is because we deserve it. They deserve 30% for us. If 100 women can fill 100 positions, let them fill 100 positions. They should fill it 100%. Don't reduce us to 30%. If we are more capable than the men, let us get it. Let everything be based on a system of merit. That is my argument. Because taking the shortcut at the end of the day will harm us more than it will do us good.
Thank you very much for being my guest on the show today, Mrs. Petra Tᴜɪᴛᴜ a strategic communication and public affairs expert. I'm sure that if you join us from the beginning, then you know that it's been a very engaging conversation. I mean, 1 hour 15 minutes felt like 20 minutes, and I'm glad to have you join us today. And I'm hoping that the next time we can schedule a part 5 of this interview. You can always be available for us.
No problem, anytime.
Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your evening and have a beautiful rest. Thank you very much. You're live on Mainland 98.3 FM, and we've come to the end of the show. But hey, if you missed this session, I will appeal to you to go on our social media platforms, Facebook and YouTube, to watch it again. Ryan from Agege says, good evening to you, Ope. Women in politics can never come up to the level of men. About my sister Natasha Akpoti, she's reaping from what her father did to the community. Her father was a very good man. That's Rahim from Agege. Thank you very much. Don't forget that by 5:30 there's going to be the Mainland FM Global News, and by 6 o'clock I will also come back to take you through the world of sports. The FA Champions League is tonight. Big English teams are in action, and also tomorrow about the draws for the quarterfinal stage of the English FA Cup. The oldest cup competition in the world was held yesterday, and there were some interesting matchups. For Arsenal, it's an away trip to St. Mary's to face Southampton, but for Chelsea it's a clash against Manchester City. We'll talk about all of those by 6 p.m. on the show when I would come back. My name is Okoyemi Akinade. Don't forget that this program comes up every Monday to Friday, but for Monday to Thursday it's 4 to 5:30, the English version, and by Friday it is Oroilu, the Yoruba version of the show. And don't always forget to keep your dialogue on Mainland 98.3 FM. My guest today has been Mrs. Petra Tᴜɪᴜnᴜ, the former Chief Press Secretary to Governor Yaya Bello, and she's also a strategic communication and public affairs expert, and we focused on pushing through the lens of growth, the dynamics of a corporate coin. Well, if you enjoyed this one, join us again tomorrow by 4, but don't forget the big one between 1 to 3 p.m. midweek politics. Side Forward and I will be here to take you through everything that I can expect. As it stands right now, the All Progressive Congress controls 31 out of the 36 states, and of course the FCT, after the governor of Zamfara State, Governor Lawal Dauda, decamped to the All Progressive Congress yesterday. We'll talk about all of this and more tomorrow between 1 to 3 p.m. on midweek politics. Stay safe and keep your dialogue on Mainland 98.3 FM. Next up is the Global News. My name is Okoyemi Akinade. Have a beautiful evening, and I'll join you tomorrow by 1.
What leadership? I have shown leadership. I have said, look, you cannot do this. If you do this, you pay for it.
Does it get better or worse?